Take back your soul. This is another transmission from Mahadeva here at thunderwizard.com headquarters, where you find the world's only unified spiritual energy system at thunderwizard.com. Get ready, because here I come. Hello, YouTube. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. And I wanted to talk to you about something that's happening astrologically, which I believe I'm feeling in my body. I don't know if you're feeling the same thing that I am, but I am feeling a lot of intensity inside, a lot of anxiety even about, I don't even know what. So it felt to me like something having to do with Saturn. And sure enough, took a look at what was going on. And as you know, we have a lot of things going on in Capricorn. Saturn and Mars are conjunct there. And Saturn is going to be transiting into Aquarius in this month of April. And so let's talk a little bit about that. So what's going to happen is that Saturn, the planet of karma, and karma is nothing more than the fulfillment of your actions. That's it. It's just the law of action and reaction. This is karma. It has nothing to do with sin or being wrong or being punished. When you take actions that go against the flow of your soul, you will experience something negative. It's just that simple. There's nobody judging you. There's nobody who's got a book who's writing down, Santa's list. Oh, you got on Santa's bad list. There's no bad list. There's nobody going, oh, you did this, therefore that has to happen. That's not going on. It is just simply an energetic reaction to an action that you have taken that is not in alignment with yourself. That's it, with your true self. So, let's talk about Saturn for a second, because Saturn is one of the most maligned planets. Everybody loves Venus. Everybody loves Jupiter. Everybody loves Mercury and Moon, right? You love all these planets. Like Moon is a really wonderfully giving, nourishing planet. Jupiter is a spiritual planet, but it's also Jupiter's like Santa Claus, and is constantly giving and is understanding and all those good things. And Saturn is seen as this limiting, destructive, mean, horrible. But that's only if you've been taking actions that are destructive to you. And Saturn says, hang on a second, we got to balance this. You're out of balance. You got to balance this. Yeah, but I don't want to. I know you don't want to. It's not fun. But, you got to deal with it. What's that? You've got cavities in your mouth because you've been eating M&Ms every day for the past 20 years. Well, we got to go to the dentist. I don't want to go to the dentist. I know you don't. But we got to balance out this imbalance in your mouth. That's just an example. So what's interesting is that the planet that has the most influence on your enlightenment, I want you to listen to me now, because everybody wants to be enlightened. Everybody wants to escape reincarnation. Everybody wants to escape pain and misery, and so they come onto spiritual channels. And many of you are on my channel for that reason. You're looking for a way out of your pain. I understand. That was the same reason that I sought out spirituality as well. I wanted a release from the prison of my pain. And nobody likes the idea of reincarnation. And there's no shortage of people, I said this once myself, people who say, well, I'm never coming back to this place. This is my last time here. And I say, well, if you say that, it's kind of guaranteed that you're coming back. Because the only way that you achieve complete freedom from this life is if you have the ability to go, yeah, I'll come back. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm happy to do this human thing again. It was a challenging experience, but I really learned and I grew. And okay, that is a prerequisite for not having to come back. So what's interesting is, I've told you all the planets that everybody loves, but the 12th house in astrology is lorded over by Pisces. And Pisces is Jupiter, and Pisces is the internal aspect of Jupiter, and it means going so deep within spiritually that you leave this physical plane. You don't come back. The 12th house represents death, liberation, the being released from the physical body. But you have to go through all of the other houses to get there. You have to go through house 1 through 11 to get there. The last 2 houses before you get to the 12th house are ruled by Saturn. So just before you get to the 12th house, you have to bump into the 10th house. The 10th house is Capricorn. That's where Saturn is sitting in now. Saturn is sitting in Capricorn with Mars. It's a lot of intensity. When you have Mars and Saturn together, the combination of this becomes an absolutely indefeatable general. I heard an astrologer whom I respect make one of the typical mistakes. There's 2 very typical mistakes that I hear astrologers say, and I can tell they're just parroting something they read in a book somewhere. It's the most superficial understanding of Saturn-Mars conjunction. And so they say Saturn is energy, Saturn is the warrior, Saturn is moving and going and accomplishing something. Or Mars, forgive me. Mars is the warrior. Mars is the planet of movement and of energy. And so when you have Mars and Saturn conjunct, you have Mars wanting to go and do. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just go do it. Let's go take that hill. And then they say Saturn is about limitation. So Saturn brings limitation and slows things down. And so this is just one of the most stupid things that I've heard, and people keep repeating it. Even some astrologers that I respect, they say that with Mars and Saturn conjunct, you have 1 foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake. That's not at all what happens. It's not it. You can't go anywhere. You're full of energy and you can't go anywhere. Now, you may be feeling what I'm feeling. I'm feeling a lot of intensity. I can feel it in my body right now. It's coming out as anxiety. One of the ways that I have to go deal with that is I go to the gym and I work out until I can barely stand, and then I feel a little more comfortable. That's Mars and Saturn. It's not doing anything. It's such an intense feeling that you have to go and accomplish something. Because Saturn is about accomplishing your dharma, your true path. In order for that to happen, we've got to clear away all of the wreckage in the road. We've got to build this road. We've got to get all the stuff out of the way. There's trees and bushes, and we got to get that. We got to work. That's Saturn in Capricorn. Saturn in Aquarius, which is going to happen in this month briefly. It's going to happen for 3 months. Saturn is going to come into Aquarius for 3 months. Then he's going to turn around and he's going to go retrograde back into Capricorn again. We'll talk about that in a second. But Aquarius is after you've done all of the hard work that you have to do, that you've been putting off. You've finally done all the work. You've got all of the debris out of the way. You've paved the road with stones, and now you've got this road paved and the bridges, and you can go, you can move. So Saturn doesn't want to limit you. Saturn wants to get rid of all of the impediments so that when you do move, you're free. There's nothing holding you back. And this is Aquarius. Aquarius is Saturn after the sign of Capricorn, after you've paid off your karmic debts. after you've worked through all of your internal blocks and you've done all the hard work to make that happen, then Aquarius is when you reach this paradise of human evolution. You know, when I was a kid, there was that whole song, "The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius," and it was the hippie thing. We're entering the age of Aquarius, man. Equality, man. And that equality is a result of working your tail off to be able to then finally earn it. So a lot of people want freedom and they want moksha and liberation, but they don't want to work for it. And that's cotton candy. You know, you can eat cotton candy all day and your teeth will just fall out of your head and there's no nutrition there. The nutrition comes from chewing up, you know, good vegetable fibrous food. So you've got to do the work. You've got to be willing to face yourself. You've got to be willing to put the effort in. And this is the time to do that. With Mars and Saturn conjunct, this is the time to work. What energy you put towards your work will lay down a foundation that will never crumble. This is the time. Whether it's you're working on yourself, whether you're working on your job, whether you're working on a relationship, whatever it is. This is a great time for this. I can't think of a better time than right now to do this. The 90-day Warrior Lightning Qigong, which is a practice that you must do. That's why I give you the reason I gave you a 90-day challenge is so that you would do it every day. And when things got tough, you wouldn't give up. You would keep going. Because this is the time to overcome those things so that we can get into the sign of Aquarius. Now, what's going to happen is Saturn is going to dip into Aquarius for 3 months, which means that for 3 months we're going to have a preview of what Saturn is going to bring us when Saturn has brought all of the karma to those who have not been doing the work to clear their own path. People who have been acting against their own integrity, against their own spiritual flow. And I'm talking about the corporate elite, talking about those elites who are in fact running the world, running the media, running governments, you know, running all that stuff we can't even talk about in depth on this channel because the powers that be can't tolerate being seen. And that's what Saturn is going to do. Saturn is going, I mean, it's happening. It is happening everywhere. I just want you to think, those of you who are my age, even if you're a little younger, I want you to think about, I'm going to name 3 celebrities. 3 celebrities who now are, whose reputation is completely tarnished, who seemed like they were the most, successful, wonderful, beautiful, aligned people. Bill Cosby is one of them. You know, Bill Cosby, if you were my age, you remember Bill Cosby from the 1960s. You remember him representing, you know, because back then, you know, you think racism is bad now. I mean, it was pretty serious back then, man. And, you know, he represented that new awareness of let's get rid of race. Let's be who we are and accept everybody. And he was very admired. He was very funny. And he ended up making his way into, from just being a stand-up comedian, he made his way into television and then into, you know, running television and the Cosby Show and all that. And then what happened? You know what happened to him. I mean, it's tragic that the universe said, you see that thing you think is hidden? That really self-destructive and destructive thing that's hidden? Here it is. Take a look at it. There's never going to, you know, he's a very old man now, but it's over. I mean, he's being taken out of, he's being taken out of history books. He's being taken out of, TV lineups. He could have been like the I Love Lucy of the 80s, right? People would still be watching the Cosby Show. No, that's getting pulled off for, you know what he did. Who's the other guy? Who's the other guy anyway? I'm so bad with names these days. Maybe I have COVID brain. But another celebrity, I forget his name, who it came out that he was molesting young men. Very famous actor, and he tried to then come out and say, "Oh, that's right, I'm gay," and people said, "No, no, 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 no. You can't use that one." I mean, he's gone. You're not going to see him in anything anymore. He was of the highest elite when it comes to actors. And now Will Smith. We have yet to see what's going to happen with him, but, as the fallout, continues to crumble down, and we're starting to see the reality, not only that, the narcissism that happens at that high level of celebrity. He's worked his whole lifetime to achieve what he has. But not only that, all of the hidden things, they weren't all that hidden, about his relationship. And we're seeing now that's what happens. You want to know what happens when you marry a narcissist? This is what happens. They end up destroying you and programming you to destroy yourself in front of the world. He's never going to be able to live that down. Maybe I'm wrong. But we're in that time right now where Saturn in Capricorn says, that stuff you thought you were hiding, we're going to show everybody what the truth of you is. That also includes you've been busting your ass behind the scenes this whole time. We are now going to show the world for who you are, and you will benefit, you will prosper. And then Aquarius is when those people who have worked tirelessly on themselves, on their own self-awareness, when they reach Aquarius, they reach this level of success and equality. Nobody is above anybody else. The elites, which is like cotton candy, they are superficial. They have all of this power and all of this money, but they are devoid of empathy. They're devoid of any real substance. And what's going to happen is that is going to be revealed for what it is, and their power will crumble. Because as unbeatable as they appear, the elites only have power because you give them power. The only reason that we are having this worldwide crisis about oil and, oh no, the war in Ukraine and our gas prices are going up, is because the petroleum companies know that you can't live without your gasoline-powered car. Even though you could be driving a diesel, even though you could be driving an electric car, even though we have all kinds of other ways that if you decided, if you said, I refuse to buy a gasoline-powered car, guess what? They would come up with alternatives because they need your money. But you don't do that. I don't do that. I'm driving a Jeep with a V6 engine. Great car. One of the I specifically bought it because I've had that vehicle before. It's just an excellent driving vehicle for my needs. So they have the power because you give it to them. If you take it away from them, they will crumble. Like they're standing on toothpicks. They will crumble without your interactive support. And so this is what's going to happen when Saturn gets into Aquarius. That is one of the things that can happen. So Saturn is going to dip in there for 3 months. So we're going to start to see some big shifts going on. Now, I don't know how that's going to come across, but the way that it feels to me, the pressure is building. The pressure of the masses who are just absolutely fed up with having the lies shoved down their throat while simultaneously having a gun put to their head telling them what they have to do and how they have to live. The average person is just getting absolutely fed up. And I hesitate to predict what will happen. I want to make it clear, I don't think that we need to be afraid. I don't think fear is a good thing to tap into. So if you're thinking about that, don't be. And again, goes back to what I was talking about whenever last time I was on, about, our idea of the world is coming apart at the seams. It's absolutely cracking under the pressure. And just sitting there thinking about, there might be other civilizations in this universe that don't follow our train of thought, that don't follow our morality, that want to share this planet with us, want to share our solar system with us. Just the thought of that, if you sit down and allow that and not do what I've done in the past, which is to spiritualize it. People want to spiritualize the whole UFO phenomenon. In one way or the other. Either they're the devil or they're beings of light coming to help us. But when you talk to people who claim to have had these experiences, they have a completely different experience. They say that these beings, they're not good, they're not bad, they don't share our morality, they don't respect people's boundaries. They just pluck them out of their house and, use them for breeding purposes. I mean, this is not a spiritual being descending. These are other living beings that live in our three-dimensional reality that are doing the same thing that we do to each other. When we conquer a place, we do the same thing, and so we're coming into that. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to dip into Aquarius. Saturn is going to dip into Aquarius for 3 months, and I think we're going to see a hint of where things are going to go. And then Saturn is going to come back into Capricorn, which means we will go back into having to work our tail off to keep our integrity. And, again, I like watching right now the whole Will Smith thing. I'm obsessed with it because, listen, I want you to be aware of what I've been telling you. What I keep hammering at you is that spirituality is about every nanosecond. You have the power to make choices. You have the power to choose to act differently than how you've been programmed. Will Smith had the opportunity when he was laughing at Chris Rock's joke and looked over at his wife, who I think it's pretty clear she's been psychologically abusing him and gaslighting him and hurting him, publicly, just damaging his masculinity on a public level. He looked at her, and his response was to try and one last time see if he could get his wife's approval by doing to somebody else what she's been doing to him. He went and he publicly tried to humiliate somebody at the deepest level because he was desperately afraid that if he got home, his wife was going to hurt him, reject him, yell at him, call him names, devalue him, accuse him of being evil or wrong or who knows what. And in that moment, he had the ability. He could have taken a breath and just said, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm not going to act. I'm not going to let this drive me. And that one impulse can never be taken back. It's on film for everybody. Listen, hold on. It's on video for everybody to see for the time immemorial. And you know that if he could go back and do it differently, he would have. So the thing is, you can't help but act from your essence. And if you continue to invest in attitudes, beliefs, which create your actions, and you continue to take actions that feed those negative beliefs, then there will come a time when you will have no mental defense against that action. So spirituality, meditation, qigong, mantra, 5-element practice, whatever actual discipline that you do. I'm not talking about beliefs. Oh, you believe in Jesus and you believe in love and you believe in light. Good for you. Those beliefs will have nothing to give you when the shit hits the fan. What will be there for you is the work that you have done. The discipline that you do actually is laying down a foundation for you having the ability to master your own reactions. Master the actions that you take to your impulses and your emotions and your desires. It's discipline. Acting toward your highest soul desire is a discipline. It's not just a feeling. It starts off, the feeling gives you the motivation. When you tap into your soul desire and you feel that inspiration, oh my God, I'm going to move to Australia and surf. Oh my God, I'm going to become the greatest healer in the world. Oh my God, I can see it now. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, what was I thinking? I can't do that. I'm going to stay in my crappy job and my crappy life and my crappy marriage. And so the discipline of doing this is what gives you the ability in every nanosecond to make different choices that propel you higher and higher and higher towards your goal. So now's the time. It's going to be Saturn is going to be in Capricorn after, it bounces into Aquarius for 3 months and then it goes retrograde and comes back into Capricorn again until sometime the beginning of next year. So this is going to be a year-long thing. Let's just get used to just, strapping on our boots and doing the work, because that's what this year is going to be all about. The discipline. You've been waiting for the time to do this. Now's the time. You've been waiting. Oh, I want to do that Mao Shan stuff, but now's the time. I'm not just saying that because I want to sell you something. I'm just telling you the truth. You're going to get the most benefit out of the work that you do now. Mars and Saturn conjunct, that is a tireless worker. It's not 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake. This is a general who is tireless, who marches forward 1 step at a time, tirelessly. Nothing can stop him. You want to get into that energy? Focus on yourself. If you do what the elites have been doing and will continue to do, which is to continue to lie, to cheat, to be inauthentic, to act against yourself, you're going to come up against hard resistance, painful resistance. Will Smith, his life is ruined because of one moment that he can never get back, that had he just taken a breath, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We would be talking about how amazing Will Smith got an Oscar for whatever movie he was in. All right. The other thing is that, your success as well as your defeat is within you. So that defeat of those 3 celebrities that I mentioned, wish I could remember the other actor's name. The 3 celebrities that I mentioned, their defeat, the seeds for that started years, decades earlier. And so you and I, we both have the seeds for our defeat as well as the seeds for our victory within us. And Saturn says, pay attention to each step. Pay attention to the little things that add up. Don't forget about the discipline and the hard work, because you're going to you're going to reap one of those two rewards, and you have both defeat and victory within you. Which one are you going to feed? You follow your soul desire and you go after and you take action fearlessly, with discipline and relentlessly, tirelessly. I mean, I don't look. Almost nothing happens to me on a daily basis when I do these videos. The truth is, I've got a small group of devoted people who follow me, and I appreciate them, and a small group of people who are contributing to me so that I can do this work full time, and I appreciate that. Compared to the rest of YouTube, I'm a nothing. But I do videos on multiple channels now every day, knowing that this one video isn't going to make or break me. It's you just got to keep working all the time. That's just how we get success, spiritually as well as every other way. All right, I'm starting to babble now, so I will, if there's anybody who wants to ask a question, I will. This is a question and answer. Write the word question in all caps so that I see it. If I don't see your question, I can't answer it. And if you have an honest feeling, you can write the words honest feeling in all caps, and I'll be happy to listen to your, hang on one second. I'll be happy to listen to any of your feelings. I just want to double check something since I'm talking about astrology here. Let me make sure that I'm correct. Looking at Vedic astrology, of course, we're not talking about Western astrology. We're talking about Vedic astrology. So somebody here says new moon in Aries. You're a Western astrologer, right? So, in case you're not familiar with it, what is the difference? The main difference between Western astrology and Vedic astrology. Vedic astrology and Western astrology both come from a pre-existing astronomical spiritual tradition that no longer exists, in a place that was called Bactria, which is now somewhere in Turkey, I think. But that civilization no longer exists, but they created a science of looking at the stars and the planets, and they were astronomers and astrologers. And so what happened is wise men from India and wise men from Greece went to Bactria and learned their astrology, and then they went back home to their separate homes, which is why Western astrology and Vedic astrology are so almost identically similar, because they come from the same root tradition. However, Western astrology uses the tropical zodiac, which is an inaccurate calculation of the stars in the sky based on a 2,000-year-old mistake. So whenever you look at Western astrology, and Western astrology says that we have a new moon in Aries, that is wrong. That is wrong because the tropical zodiac has been going off by 1 degree every 24 years. Or excuse me, 1 degree every 72 years, which means it's 24 degrees off. So Mitch, new moon in Aries. You've been on my channel how long? You should know that. Don't be so proud of your ignorance. Because that's what you did. You just ignorantly threw out a fact. You didn't know that I'm a Vedic astrologer. I'm going to catch you on that. How could you not know that? No, we have right now a new moon in Pisces. Because what happens is we got to go back. Your Western is 24 degrees too far forward. You got to go 24 degrees back. So it's in 28 degrees Pisces. And it's important. You know, and people say, oh, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. No, we're talking about a calculation of the sky. Astrology is either a science or it's meaningless drivel. If it's a science, then we have to be precise. So, no, we have a new moon in Pisces right now. Okay, let's see what else. Kevin Spacey, thank you, Ganunga Greg. Kevin Spacey, that was the guy. So those are I mean, think about it. If you're my age, you've seen all three of these people come out of nowhere and become, work their whole life. Kevin Spacey was like, he was up there. I mean, really, he was up there with Robert De Niro. And you could throw him out in the same, some of the best actors of our time. Robert De Niro, Kevin Spacey. Where is he now? He's nowhere. Again, the other guy, Bill Cosby, nowhere to be found. I mean, he's being written out of history, out of television history. He's being erased, and it's because you cannot hide. You cannot hide who you really are underneath it all. Yeah, Kevin Spacey. Real tragedy. Tragedy on all levels, I think. All right. So Mitch 543, thank you. Please, questions only. I'm not interested in you can do that on your own channel. You got a question for me, I'm all for it. You say, question, how does Aries new moon come into play with all this? It doesn't. All right, very good. No other questions? No questions? No questions? All right, so as we know, I'm a pain in the ass when it comes to questions. I have all these rules about how you have to ask me a question, what you can and can't say. But there is somebody who doesn't limit you in terms of your questions, and that's this guy. This is Mahadeva Shiva, and we have a new channel which you should go check out, which is called Mahadeva Speaks. So you can look for it on YouTube. Just type in Mahadeva Speaks, and I'm sure my channel will come up. And if you have any questions about anything, you can ask him. I've made a video today, and I think I mentioned something along the lines of, in my experience, the questions he responds most to are the questions having to do with how to change your energy from within, to change to become like him. So asking questions about specific things in our timeline that may not apply to him, I can't say whether or not he'll respond. I know that he has the desire to be loving and kind and reach out. He's not as much. He's definitely not as much of a cranky pain in the ass as I am. But you can go and ask him any question you want, and if it's a question that I like, I will definitely ask him and do a reading on it, a channeling on it. All right. So let's see what else. I'm wiped out today, by the way. Tried to go surfing this morning. No waves. Very disappointing. So Vincent.thunderwizard.com, he says hello, and I didn't mention him, but he's way up there at the top. You should go check him out. You can see all the services he has. Just to talk about Saturn and Capricorn. Vincent is Saturn and Capricorn. Every time I come on here, he is one of the first people that comes up and says, here I am. And he's shameless at self-promoting, which you have to be. You have to put your ego aside and be willing to just constantly work on your career in order to have it work. So check him out, Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Same thing with Thundra Staves Rangel. She said hello, and I didn't give a shout out to her. Thundra.thunderwizard.com. She is also one of my astrologers and has all kinds of other things that she does. You can go check her out there. She's also a radio personality. She's going to be hosting next year's Oscars, I heard. So be careful, be careful of your jokes, because Somebody will come up and smack you. What else? Anything else? Nothing else? I don't see any other questions here. Thundra Staves Rangel. Question. Can you comment on how the Rahu Ketu transit will affect me? Well, let's see here. I don't know that I have the time to go looking you up again. Write in and tell me where your Rahu and Ketu is. So just put it in there so that I don't take up too much time trying to find you. Tell me where your Rahu and Ketu is. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Honest feeling. I'm scared to move out, but look forward to the challenge. Good for you. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? So, you know how the deal. If you don't have questions, I got to do some promotion of myself as well. So, I did a video earlier today, which I thought really helped explain where this hang on one second here. I just had to pull up your astrology there, Thunder. Talking about the history of what this Maoshan practice is. And I am getting more and more fearless about telling you the truth about this. Because remember, when I started doing this stuff 30 years ago, I was not allowed to talk about it in public. I was told that I couldn't talk about it in public. I couldn't even let anybody know that I did it. When people, there's times that I had people come to class and they saw the stuff that we were doing in class. And then this was back when I was in Hollywood, and I was in fact at a movie premiere or something or other. And somebody went up and started telling people that guy, and they started pointing at me. This guy's got it. And I said, I don't know what he's talking about. He's just making that up. None of that's true. And he said, why did you do that? And I said, because I'm not allowed to talk about this in public. This stuff has never been revealed to the world before. This lightning energy of the heart, to my knowledge, has never been publicly revealed. Taoists, we're talking about, you can go to Huashan or Wudangshan, the big Taoist mountains. They don't know anything about this. If you start to talk about it, they get scared and they go, oh, you're talking about demon worship. It frightens them. The power of it is, even, the most powerful Taoists are afraid of this. Because the original Taoists kept this most powerful secret to themselves. And the only people that I know that still know about it are these Maoshan. And the Maoshan have become associated with folk magic, which is true, because what happened is there was always the elites were always fighting for power, and the elites do not want spiritual masters, because spiritual masters mess with elites' ability to control people and to steal from them. So they're constantly trying to, all the monasteries were getting, shut down or taken over. And so these guys had to go into hiding. So they went down into southern China. And in southern China, they, married and had kids, and they passed it along. And so they passed on a lot of their, quote, magic to just average people. And so that is why Maoshan has become associated with folk magic. But it actually goes all the way back to these first Taoists. The woman, her name, I forget her name. I'm so bad with names these days. She received revelations from ascended masters that came to her and started teaching her how to become an ascended immortal. And so this power of the heart, this lightning power of the heart, you're not going to find it anywhere else. If you're really looking for something, if you've tried everything else, you've tried Kundalini Yoga, you've tried Qigong, you've tried Tai Chi, you've tried The Secret, you've tried Western magic, and nothing. There's something missing. Give this a try. If you really want the high level stuff, give this a try. You've got nothing to lose. You're only here once. So you asked me, Thundra, about your Rahu Ketu transit. So your Rahu and Ketu are in. Ketu is in Aries. Rahu is in Libra, so Aries and Libra, the 4th and the 10th house. So what is the transit that's going to be coming? So Rahu and Ketu. So yeah, so it's going to, okay. So let's see, Rahu in the 1st, Ketu in the 7th. Is that, so are you going to have an exact like transit? It's not going to be one of those backwards transits. Where'd we go? I don't normally do this, just to let you know, guys. I don't normally do this. Oh, it's going to be, it is, it's going to be opposite. Is it going to be opposite? Let me see. You say having semi-return. So it's like, it's not a full return, right? Let me just make sure that's right. Ketu in the 1st. No, okay. So it is. It's one of those. Okay, so how is that going to affect you? That's a great question. So just to let you know, what ends up happening when you have a Rahu Ketu return, which is a Rahu Ketu return. I can't do two things at once. Rahu Ketu return is when Rahu and Ketu transit over the houses they were at when you were born. Whenever that happens, which is every 18 years, I believe. Yeah, not exactly, around 18 years, Rahu and Ketu come back to the same place they were 18 years before. When that happens, you have a complete shift in your identity. So Rahu and Ketu are the karmic nodes that bring you into manifestation. Rahu is your desire, Ketu is what you've mastered. And so when you have them go over this return where Rahu is shining down on Ketu in your chart and Ketu is eclipsing over Rahu in your chart, my experience of that is, I'm trying to remember, those weren't complete life shifts, but I do remember them being periods of time where I really reflected on who I was. So I wish I could give you a better idea of what that's going to mean for you, but it is a very, those two things, every 9 years, the number 9 is significant. So every 9 years you have a complete restoration, complete shift of who you are. And then every 18 years you have a complete shift of who you are. And then every 9 years, it's sort of like you have an opportunity to look through that. Am I really that? Do I really want that? Your Rahu. Do I really, really want that? Ketu. Have I really mastered that? That's my experience of it. I'm happy to hear what your experience of it is. What else? Spectrum of life question. You mentioned before lack of finances and fortune is related to the universe not having our backs. Could you elaborate on it? That's not exactly what I said. What I said was that when you feel that the universe doesn't have your back, you will experience that as a lack of finances. So money is symbolic of mother's love. And what do people want more than anything? I mean, what do all humans want more than anything? They want to be rich. They want to be rich because they want mom's love. I'm telling you, that is that's the thing we want more than anything. Everything that happens in the world, wars, the global elite trying to, you know, force you to do horrible things to yourself, the people that are canceling us, not allowing us to have free speech, free press, all of the horrible things that happen to us and around us, that what we do, global warming, whatever, it's because we desperately want mom's love. Global warming is a good example because the amount of damage that human beings do to the planet is really quite phenomenal. And, just to give you an example, my pre-Christian ancestors, there were people, we didn't have electricity. I say we, I don't know if I was there. They didn't have electricity, so they had to, having wood was a big deal. You had to have wood. And so there were people, their jobs were to go out in the forest and cut down trees or find and gather wood, and they'd come back to the village and they would sell wood to people. That was their job. They did that every day, the woodcutters. And in order to chop down a tree, they had to have permission from the spirit in the tree. When they chopped the tree down, they had to put a magical mark on the tree, every single tree, a magical mark on the tree so that the spirit of that tree, which they called a woodwife, which means a wood woman, a woman inside the tree, would have some place to go. If they just chopped a tree down and moved on, then they had released a nature spirit out into the forest, and that nature spirit might come looking for you. And so the mythology is that if you're out in the forest and you see a beautiful woman, you better be afraid. If you're out in the middle of the forest and there's just some beautiful woman standing there and she's got this beautiful flowing dress on, something's up. And what you do is you are polite and you pay attention and you watch to see if a tail comes out underneath her dress, or if when she turns her back you see the hollowed inside out of a tree, you know it's a woodwife, and you need to be very careful. Now, compare that with how we cut down trees now. We just level whole forests. Whole sides of mountains have these big giant gouges where the trees used to be. No awareness of the spirits in the trees in the forest, none whatsoever. Can you imagine all of that negativity that's coming back? I lived in a cursed area. In Southern California, I grew up in Palos Verdes Peninsula. And my first exorcism and my first possession that I saw was when I was with a friend of mine, and we were at this old church that used to be some guy's mansion, which is now called the neighborhood church, and it's on the cliffs there, overlooking the ocean. But people had been doing, then when I was a kid, people had been doing satanic worshipings there for a long time, and the place was known to be haunted. We went there, and a friend of mine, a spirit jumped inside of him and possessed him, and I did my first exorcism on him there. But years later, they did excavations around that in an empty field overlooking the ocean around that, and they found a bunch of Native American burial grounds. And if you know anything about Native American burial grounds, they did some really intense magic, and those things are cursed. You don't want to be around those things. That's not nothing. That's a real thing. And I lived in a place that was cursed. That whole area was just so, it was one of the, I never moved back there because of that. So when we are not in alignment with our environment gets angry with us. And that's just one thing to think about what we've been doing. We're going to have to deal with all that in some way or other. There's no way around that. I forgot why I started talking about that. So we're talking about the universe not having our backs. So if you want money, then you have to be in alignment with yourself. You have to trust the universe. The universe is your mother. The earth is your mother. And the web of weird is your mother. And if you aren't in alignment with yourself, you won't have a connection to that source of nurturing and love. If you're in fear, you're not trusting your mother. If you have a victim mentality, you're not trusting your mother. If you are a thief, you're not trusting your mother. You think you have to steal it from somebody else. So it's okay to have all of these feelings, but when we act with trust and love and fearlessness, then we're able to be attached to the energetic nurturing of the mother. And one of the ways that you will notice that will be money. Or it may not be money, it may be resources. You may end up being one of these people who is a professional house sitter. You don't have to pay rent. You just go and live in these really great houses, and you get to hang out with people's dogs and their cats, and you get paid to do it. You get to live in these great places. That's resources coming to you. Doesn't matter whether it's money or whether it's resources, but that's what that's all about. So it's not that the universe is having your back. The universe has everybody's back. It's just a question of whether or not you are in alignment with yourself, because your self-directed negativity is going to disconnect you from that. Again, Will Smith, perfect example. His self-directed negativity is what did him in. We could talk about, I believe that his wife has been psychologically abusing him. I think he's in a severely codependent relationship with, she may have NPD or BPD or something like that. Maybe, maybe not. She's got something going on. And he has decided he's going to fix her. He's going to get her love by being the most successful actor, musician in the world. And of course, it's never going to be enough. And his lack of feeling loved drove him to do that incredibly stupid thing. And we all do that. And he was think about that. He was on the verge of getting, fucking Oscar for King Richard. He's on the verge of, and he might as well have pulled his pants down and crapped on that Oscar. It's just, he couldn't have done anything more self-destructive. So it wasn't that he didn't have the money or the love or the fame or any of that. It's he didn't have it within himself. So the universe isn't in it where the universe has your back or doesn't have your back. The question is, do you have your own back? If you have your own back and you go forward with what you know is your soul's desire for you in this world, the universe, like a loving mother, is going to rush to make sure that you have everything you need to take care of whatever it is that you want. Third and the ninth house. Oh, so am I looking at the wrong? Yeah, I have two astrologies for you, don't I? Well, sorry about that. I didn't have the right houses, but I didn't talk about the houses anyway. The only thing that I did talk about, which is still the same as, how Rahu and Ketu, when it's like a halfway return. That's my experience. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful to you. Sorry if it's not. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Honest feeling. I'm really enjoying Coda. That's Codependence Anonymous. Will Smith. It's inspiring to see people fighting for their own self-empowerment and encourage me to never give up on myself. Good. I'm glad that's helping you. That's not a question. That's not a question. That's not a question. Atham Animist. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Honest feeling. It's interesting you say intense frustration coming to a head. I feel the intensity of frustration wanting to learn more. At the same time, I feel more confident than ever before. Yeah. I can relate to that feeling. It's what I get um, I get the instinct that it's an astrological thing when it's really intense and I can't figure out what's wrong. Because I mean, for instance, I didn't go surfing. That was frustrating to me. It saddened me, to be honest with you. It makes me very sad. I don't have the same scenario around surf that I did, when I lived in other parts of the world. And, I have to sit around and wait for Florida to figure itself out when it's going to bring surfable waves. And so it's very frustrating to the one day that I have off to go, I go and I get this, 3 days before telling me the waves and the conditions are going to be perfect, and I show up and it makes me very sad. So I was wondering, is that it? Is it just that simple? Is my ego bent out of shape because I couldn't go surfing? But it's more than that. I can feel that something astrologically and something is going on with the collective unconscious. There's just a bunch of frustration brewing. I can feel it coming to a head. And, I understand why people are acting crazy. They're doing crazy, stupid things. And it's because of that. So I'm actually today, as I'm driving down the street, and people are driving and doing stupid things, I'm having to make sure that I don't look at people because I do this thing where I give people the stink eye, and it's not a very healthy thing to do. So I was having to just go, you know what, this has nothing to do with other people, and I was making sure I didn't give anybody the stink eye. Let's see what else. So yeah, I understand what you're talking about, Atham Animist. Rovera Rovix, if you have a question you see above you, people write it in all caps. It's because I want to see your question. So the whole point is you want to make sure that I see it. Write the word question in all caps. You say, do you have any mantra that you would recommend for the moment we should sleep? I heard it works the subconscious. Yes, but everybody's different. So if you want a mantra, my suggestion is you can go to either one of these people's website that I've given out, thundra.thunderwizard.com or vincent.thunderwizard.com or astrology.thunderwizard.com, because mantras are associated with planets. If I give you a mantra for me, it might be the exact wrong thing for you. Because for me, the planet that helps me is Mars. But Mars is the warrior. Mars is fire. Mars is aggression. Mars is good for me. But might not be good for you. So is there a mantra? Yeah, but I'd have to look at your chart. If you want me to look at your chart, you have to get a reading, either from me or from one of my apprentices. So go to astrology.thunderwizard.com and you'll have an exact mantra that is tuned specifically to you. And yes, that is the best time to chant a mantra, is before you go to bed, because then you are priming your unconscious to work through any blocks in your unconscious mind. So yes, you are correct. What else? Thunderous Dave's Rangel threw $1.99 at me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. SF, no, you're wrong. It's easy for this is, people are so cynical. And that's a very cynical thing to say, because it shows, you're saying that the slap was staged. That's a really typical cynical thing to say. Everybody wants to say something like that because we live in those times. Everything is fake. But I know enough about body posture. Plus, I know there's nothing to be gained for anybody. This isn't like, who's the guy who, God, I'm so bad with names right now. Anyway, this isn't a stage thing because nobody's benefiting from it. Neither of them benefit from it. So I think that's your own cynicism, and it saddens me to see that you're so cynical that your knee-jerk reaction is to say that everything is fake. And that's sad because it's really easy to do that because all of our media is fake, all of our news is fake, all of our elections are fake, all of our, the people who are supposedly giving us all the, the three-lettered organizations that are supposed to be independent and here for our best interest, those guys are all fake. So it's easy to say that, but I think that's not well thought out. And again, I think it's cynical, and it bothers me that people are proud of that. This is a reason why you shouldn't, on my channel, throw out an opinion. You should always ask a question because I want to answer your questions. You throw out an opinion, and if I sense some kind of something like that bothers me, I'm going to want to psychoanalyze you. So if you want to avoid that, ask a question or share an honest feeling. But I completely disagree with you, and it saddens me that you think that. What else? Nothing else? No other questions? I don't see any other questions. All right, that's it for me, guys. I wish you all the best. Go to Mahadeva Speaks on YouTube and subscribe. I need at least 200 subscribers or something like that. I need more subscribers before Odyssey, ODYSEE.com will mirror it. Excuse me. You should also go to my thunderwizard.com Odyssey channel, ODYSEE.com, because YouTube is deleting videos without telling me. So if you want to see all of my videos, even the ones that got banned and deleted, you can go there. And I upload audio podcasts to there as well. And then, of course, all this other stuff. This is the beginning of the month. You want to sign up for this subscription now because it's the beginning of the month that you get charged. Now's the time to do it. You'll get the most out of it. And again, what have you got to lose? You can unsubscribe whenever you want. All right, SF, you didn't listen to what I said. And now I'm offended. I said I don't want to hear your opinion. And the worst thing to do is to get in an argument with me or double down. I'm offended now. I don't even want to pay attention to you. You're welcome on my chat. This is question and answer only. If you want to have your own opinion on something, go do it on your own channel. But seriously, man, you're in my home watching my thing. I'm giving my opinion. I don't want you walking into my living room and taking a dump on it and wanting to argue with me about something. I'm not interested in that. So I'm not going to read that. All right, so that's it for me, guys. I wish you guys all the best. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Especially watch yourself during this time. This is the time to be doing your meditation, to be doing your practices. This is the time. While, especially the rest of this year, but especially right now, I can feel it. Something's coming to a head. I don't know what, but keep your wits about you and keep control of yourself. That's it for me, guys. I wish you all the best. I'll see you next time. Stay safe. And yeah, that's it. Take back your soul. This is another transmission from Mahadeva here at thunderwizard.com headquarters, where you find the world's only unified spiritual energy system at thunderwizard.com. Get ready, because here I come.